Welcome to Ship of the Week. This week we'll briefly look at HMCS Rainbow. The late 19th century was a construction boom for the British Royal Navy, as it was for nearly every industrial power. Among many warships, from the pen of naval architect, soon-to-be Sir William White, were the Apollo-class armored cruisers, moderately sized and armed cruisers primarily intended to protect imperial holdings, many of which today are independent members of the Commonwealth. Laid down at Palmer's Shipbuilding in 1890, the 18th ship in the class would become HMS Rainbow. Rainbow entered the water for the first time just a few months later in March of the following year. At 314 feet long and displacing 3,700 tons, she entered service in 1892, originally finding herself in the Pacific and Mediterranean colonies, but it seems she was extraordinarily expensive to run for a ship her size and was increasingly relegated to less exciting assignments, culminating in a confinement to mothballs by 1909. This was not the end of Rainbow's career, however, and in 1910, the Canadian government, in need of warships to patrol coastal waters and protect fisheries in the Pacific, paid $250,000 for the ship, which would serve both as a fishery defense vessel and as a training ship for the service that was rapidly solidifying into the brand new Royal Canadian Navy, although that title would only become official in 1911. The summer of 1914 saw one of Canada's first of the many unusual diplomatic implementations a modern Navy experiences, when she arrived at Vancouver to settle a dispute between the Canadian government and the passengers of a Japanese ocean liner, Komagata Maru, whose passengers, mostly Indian Sikhs attempting to settle in Canada, were denied entry. Much like the United States, Canada was looking to greatly restrict migration from certain parts of the world, including, as it were, Punjabi subjects of George V. Komagata Maru eventually departed with Rainbow at her side just days before Europe effectively imploded. The beginning of the First World War meant that Rainbow would no longer patrol the Pacific looking for illegal American fishing boats, and instead patrol the Pacific looking for wayward Imperial German cruisers that might threaten merchant shipping. But to the disappointment of her gunners, it seems she never found one. She did manage, in early 1916, to capture a few schooners, operated by German and Mexican owners, which her crew proudly towed home to Esquimalt. The cost of the coal, maintenance, and personnel to operate Rainbow surpassed the value in keeping her in the Pacific, and with the center of gravity of the war solidly eastward, Rainbow left the fleet, remaining at Esquimalt until the first ship ever commissioned into the Royal Canadian Navy was sold for recycling in 1920.